If you guys are thinking about moving to San Diego, the city we're standing in right now might be on the list, but we're gonna dive into Poway and let you know some good things and some bad things, especially the bad things. We're gonna cover those first, because if those weren't gonna work out for you, cut it off the list. But if Poway isn't on the list, there's a bunch of other areas around San Diego that might work for you. But without further ado, let's jump into the pros and cons of living right here in Poway.
First up, this one might take it off your list immediately, so definitely take a listen. It is kind of that it's out here. If you're commuting, especially to downtown, you're looking at anywhere between 30 and 60 minutes, which you wouldn't think, kind of just because it is a little bit further south in San Diego, but it is out here. So it is at least 15 minutes from just kind of where we're at here, kind of in the central part of Poway, all the way to the 15 freeway, which is how you're going to get up and down the San Diego County. So it's just a little bit harder to get out to some of these places just because you are a little bit more rural, a little bit further set back from the freeway.
And a lot of these areas too, like other cities we talk about, whether it be just to the north, Rancho Bernardo, or up and down the 56 freeway, like Carmel Valleys and stuff, a lot of those have freeways like cutting right through the center of town. This, like you said, it's on the far west portion of town. So anywhere back here, we're about 4 miles back right now. We're about east. 4 miles east, but the freeway is what to the west. So the freeway's to the west.
Yeah.
We're to the east.
Yep.
And it goes back a few more miles even back this way. So if you want like rural Poway, where you're getting in the hills and views and kind of stuff, you're even further back there, which maybe some people like as well. And first off, I want to show you Cassie's hand. He got a new dog. So if you're looking at his beautiful Band-Aids, he's getting some little dog bites.
Little nips, yep, here and there. But one of the other things too, there's a big commercial hub in kind of the Rancho Bernardo area. So if you're getting a job there, it's kind of an ideal commute. It's not getting on the freeway. It's, you know, maybe 20, 25 minutes. So if you're finding a job there or here in Poway, commute part doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and the big business district in Poway is down to the south. It's kind of out of the way. It's not in the center of town, so it's just kind of by itself down there. And then you have Sorrento Valley. So there's other areas besides downtown San Diego, but from a lot of other areas that we've mentioned on this channel, you are definitely further out there. And another thing about being further out is it's definitely warmer out here. So I came from the coast earlier, and from there to here, it was about 12 to 14 degrees different. So we're sitting at May 21st right now, and it's gonna be gorgeous out here today. It's gonna be like 86, 85, maybe? 86. Whereas coastal, you're looking at maybe 73, 74 today. So you just get out here a little bit. You don't get as much of that coastal breeze. Even right now, right when we started setting up, it was nice, but it's died. It's like getting warm. Still beautiful, beautiful May day. Last time we filmed out here, we had May gray. Gorgeous right now. So if you want a little warmer, you're not too worried about going to the coast too much, this could be ideal.
If you are a foodie, there are not a ton of local restaurants here in Poway. There's a couple. There's Hop Stop, there is Smokin' Joe's Barbecue, kind of in this old Poway area. You also have the Hamburger Factory right in that right by the trains in Old Poway Park. And there's some other sports bars and some other spots that are local, but there's not a ton. This isn't a place people are coming from the coast to go to date night dinners here in Poway. You're kind of doing the opposite here. You're going towards Del Mar, you're going towards Solana Beach for some of those restaurants like that. So if you are looking for a place where you can, you know, quick drive, quick Uber to a whole bunch of restaurants and stuff, Poway might not be the spot. But the other side of that is there's a ton of infrastructure here. You have your Costco's, you have your grocery stores, you have all of the amenities you really need right here in Poway.
And then a little bit further south is like the main commercial zone where you're gonna find a bunch more shopping centers and, you know, like Lowe's and big box stores and all those kind of things. So it's fairly convenient, but it's not like destination where people are like, dude, we need to go hit up Poway. Now, if you're local here, dropping some spots that you're hitting below, because there's definitely, as with any city, you're gonna find some local gems, but it's just not like that central hub. Going with the theme of going out to date nights and all that kind of stuff, it's kind of sleepy out here. So if you're looking for nightlife, you're looking for entertainment, you're looking for a lot of activity, a lot of action going on, not right here. This is kind of like a lot of the coastal cities we mentioned, as far as like when people go to bed, it's like lights off at 9 p.m., everybody's at home. I think there's
sports bars open until 11.
Sports bars open until 11. The arcade is open till like 10 on the weekends and stuff, but you're not gonna find like anything, you know, big going on at a lot of times. Yeah, there's you guys could find some things that are open, but it's not like nightlife central. You know, you have downtown San Diego for that. You have a few other areas that could work, but it's not gonna be here.
The next con is there's not a ton of new construction. So most of the homes built here in Poway are 1970s through 1990s. Not a lot else that's newer. There are a couple of communities here and there that are a little bit newer.
Like the one we covered on our vlog. Go check that one out too, where we cover some of these neighborhoods.
But so if you're looking for a ton of new construction options, there's just not going to be a ton of communities to look at out here. There are opportunities though for kind of that lower price point, completely remodeling, stripping down some houses to kind of make your own also.
And this next one has been an ongoing thing over these past few years. We've seen it actually not necessarily stop transactions, but maybe muddy them up a little bit. Just that fire danger and getting insurance. So right here in Poway, they just updated the high fire severity maps, and over 90% of Poway is within that district. Now, a lot of San Diego is within that district too, and the insurance companies don't necessarily go off those specific maps. They're looking at a bunch of other, aspects as well. What's around the property, what kind of vegetation, how big are defensible spaces, all that kind of stuff. So it's really going to come down house to house. But as far as like the amount of area that is covered under this, it is quite high right here in Poway. With that too, you're gonna find sometimes during summer times, or not even summer times really, but just when we have like Santa Ana winds, when we have these big winds coming through, that SCG&E will potentially cut off power to some of these areas as you get more, especially as you get more rural, which I'm pointing this way, but it's actually that way. As you get more rural, you get more space out there. That's where they have some of those high lines and stuff, and some of those older poles that have potentially caused some issues in the past. So they're looking to mitigate that. It's not like an everyday occurrence. It's not like an every month occurrence, but it might happen from time to time. And so the insurance thing, we have some insurance brokers right here in San Diego that we use where they shop around a few different areas. You could also just chat with your current provider. We get you the address. Okay, we're looking at properties. Let's look at this house. Let's find out how much insurance is going to be at that particular property. Does that still fit in within your budget? And kind of go from there. So if you guys want some of those information, be sure to reach out. You could hit us up and we can start that conversation before you actually even move out to San Diego.
The next con is cell service is spotty. We see this in a lot of our rural neighborhoods, so like a Livin or Rancho Santa Fe or Escondido in the kind of rural sections, or San Diego Hills.
Not that rural, but nobody gets service up there.
Yeah, so
there's a different story.
There's just some parts of Poway that are going to be a little bit more spotty depending on who you have for cell service, and it's going to just be house to house, honestly, because we've been out here right now. We've got great service. We're in Old Poway. When we're out towards Lake Poway, no service. When you're out kind of on those outskirt houses, there's very spotty service. And one other thing, and this is kind of third hand, read this on Reddit while we were doing some research for this video, but the Poway Sheriff's Department gets a lot of their funding from tickets, and it shows. So just be cautious out here. Speeding tickets are going to be a little bit more abundant than in some of the other areas, so we've heard.
Before we get into the pros of living right here in Poway, if you guys are thinking about moving out here and you want to start that conversation, there's a few things you could do. First off, you could call, text, email. Our number's popping up right now. We are the guys who answer those calls, texts, emails. It's like a lot of times it's Cassidy. So hit us up and start that conversation. We can set up a Zoom call, get you dialed in, and go over some neighborhoods in depth, some areas that might work for you. Or you could feel free to download the relocation guide that's popping up right now. It gives you a lot of information on San Diego as a whole. And then within there too, we do have a local area guide for Poway. So get that downloaded and feel free to reach out. Let's start that conversation. So before we get into pros, Cassie's gonna jump into one of the top pros here, right here, living in Poway. But one other con, I just noticed we're getting a few bug bites out here. So I don't know. I think it's just this park, but yeah, there's definitely some bugs right here in Poway. But
I think it's the hot weather too. We talked about this last night at soccer.
Yeah, and they watered all the fields out here. So it's that, oh yeah, you're getting bit at soccer last night.
Yeah.
So all right, there's some bugs here in San Diego, guys. I mean, we've lied to you in the past, but.
Although one of the parents I was talking to is from Michigan, and he said that these are minute compared to the giant bugs in Michigan. So yeah. We'll take the minute bugs. But the first pro is one that a lot of you already know if you're watching this video and you're thinking about Poway, and that is the great school district here in Poway. It's a huge draw for a lot of people that live here. One of the best districts in San Diego by rankings, always is one of the best by rankings. So just a consistent, very good school district here in Poway. One thing that Poway has that I've seen in a lot of other districts recently is free breakfast and lunch as an option at school. I don't know how good it is, but, but it is an option and it's free. So that is a positive. Some of the other things are just very well put together programs like PTO, PTA. There is a difference between those. I don't know exactly what that is, but schools have a lot of really neat programs here in Poway. There's music at some schools, there's art, there's some of those programs that not every district has.
They also have CTE programs, or college and career technical education programs. So getting ready for a specific trade or anything like that, they have some of that out here in Poway as well. And the schools are great, but one thing that we're going to cover at the end here actually might be one of the top reasons people are choosing Poway compared to other cities around San Diego. So stay tuned for that. But Poway athletics has always been pretty strong as well. So if your kids are athletes, depending on what they're going for, football, I know wrestling has become big. Now, if you're looking at like niche.com, I think they were ranked 17th out of San Diego. There were some of the big boys at the top, but still they always have a pretty good athletic program here in Poway. I remember growing up, I grew up in San Marcos, and wrestled for a few years, and I know Poway wrestling has always been a huge thing. They've always been top of the heap right here in as far as San Diego schools go, and California it goes. So I was just reading an article where they're kind of in a rebuilding phase, but even during their rebuilding phase, when they went to state this year, they had 2 top place finishers, and the whole team as a whole finished second. So I mean, that's a pretty good rebuilding year, I would say. But you find, wrestling, football, baseball, all those athletics are pretty solid right here in Poway.
So going into some of the stats of the schools, there are 39 schools in the Poway School District. There is a 24-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio, that is. And one of the crazy things, too, to show you how big Poway School District is, there's only 48,000 people that live in Poway proper, but there are 35,000 students in the Poway School District.
And so you're thinking 35 to 48, you're like, it's just children that live here in Poway. Like, no, Poway School District, it goes further north, it goes around to the surrounding cities. So it's literally not just the city of Poway. Some of the other schools within Poway Unified School District are actually in these other cities, but they're still PUSD. So you will find that. And
then also from niche.com, Poway School District got an A+ overall, which is awesome. Some of the other stats are academics A+, teachers A+, some of the really actual important things. Sports A, food B-, so not great on the food, but that's probably most school districts. And then college prep A+, so definitely a huge bonus of living here in Poway.
Another bonus of living right here in Poway is all the parks, all the outdoor space. We'll get into outdoor space here in a sec, but let's start with the parks. Like where we were filming in the vlog was across the street at Old Poway Park. Now we're in like the ball fields right here, and I mean, they're being maintained as we speak right now. The guy mowing the lawn, he was going to mow this ball field right behind us. He's like, hey, you guys want me to go over here? We're like, cool. So good
Thank
people.
you.
Good people. Yeah, appreciate
Shout out
you.
to everybody now.
Yeah, so he's mowing the other field right now. Anyways, well maintained, but you still kind of have like, if you're comparing it to like Carlsbad parks, would you say have some of the best parks? Those parks are a little newer. They're a little more manicured. They're a little more, I don't know, just kind of like that HOA style, even though most of them are HOA. Here, it's a little more, the parks are beautiful, by the way, but it's a little more rugged, which I like. I kind of like that style. Just like dirt path going around here, a lot of grass, a lot of these old trees, these pepper trees and stuff. So
train cars
across the road. And Poway on their website too, on their city website, if you go there, they have a full list of all the parks. So if you're just looking for like little pocket parks or like a little playground for the kids or something, you go on there and they have all that info there as well. And then as far as outdoors, Poway has some of the best hiking right here in San Diego. A lot of it off to the east, where you're going to find Potato Chip Rock, which is one of the most popular hikes in all of San Diego.
Yep.
And yeah,
I don't think you're San Diegan until you take a picture on Potato Chip Rock.
We're not San Diego.
I'm not San Diego.
All right, we're going to have to do that, but you have that.
I'm afraid of heights too, so I don't think I can.
I don't know if it's that high though. I think it's like not that high off the ground. I think just perspective, it looks high. But you also have the Ecological Preserve right to the north of that. You have Iron Mountain, you have all these hikes right around here. There's some off in little other areas as well. In Poway, there's over 78 mile of hiking trails. Some of them are going to include like equestrian trails. When we were filming the other day from Lake Poway, we were heading out, and it was funny, like since it is equestrian community, they still have that vibe. That's how it was originally. You're going to find some properties and stuff like that. They did have a crosswalk where you hit the little button.
Oh, that's right.
It was actually like horse height, so you could just hit it while you're riding your horse on some of these trails. So I think that was pretty cool, and just kind of goes with the whole vibe right here in Poway. And then outdoors too, you have Lake Poway, you have the park over here where they have the farmers market on the weekends and those kind of things. It's a good area to get outdoors. Now the beaches are, what we mentioned before, a little bit further away, but you do have plenty of other areas to get out and about.
Another big pro of living here in Poway is more space. So more space between you and your neighbors, bigger lots, equestrian friendly, a lot of those things that go along with not being right up against your neighbors like you are in some of the newer master plan communities, some of those coastal zones where you don't have a ton of space between you and your neighbor. Poway, there are a lot of neighborhoods and opportunity for privacy, just big lots. And even the older neighborhoods where it's still like a neighborhood feel, the lots are bigger and there is a bigger setback between houses, and it just has a little bit more of that space privacy feel to it. And even with those bigger lots, you're still also getting a lot more bang for your buck out here in Poway. Some of the neighboring areas like Rancho Bernardo, Black Mountain, Forest Ranch, some of those communities are a lot more expensive than Poway. Some of it is because they're newer, some of it is because there's larger houses in some of those spots, but for the most part, Poway, you're gonna get a little bit more for your dollar here.
And Cassie mentioned earlier, yeah, a lot of these homes are 70s, 80s, 90s. So there's a few, you know, some of the gated communities are going to be a little newer. The farm that we covered, you're going to find some newer stuff. We helped clients a few years back who were looking in Poway. They had a budget and this is the area that they were comfortable with. They moved into the house and it was sub $1 million. Nice yard. There was some remodeling that they could do to fix it up, to add some equity. They're going to do a little sweat equity in there as well.
So there are opportunities if you want to focus on a detached house but don't think you can afford one. Poway has some opportunity out here if you're willing to put in a little bit of elbow grease, a little bit of sweat equity, and then also just put some work in, because there are a lot of houses out here that are either original or have been 70s houses that have been remodeled in the 90s, where they are going to be a way lower price point, but you're gonna have to put some work in.
And a lot of those too, they're smaller square footage, but once again, the trade-off, you get a little bit more yard, a little more space, and then everything else right here in Poway. Another pro of living right here in Poway is the community events. So there's a ton of community events throughout the year. One of the biggest ones is actually the Poway Rodeo. It's like right over that way. It kind of goes with the whole theme of Poway, the city and the country. You kind of get that rural vibe. There's a rodeo here, which is awesome. It's a pretty big event out here as well. You have the Winter Festival every year. There's a big 4th of July party here every year. Not really a community event, but every week, like I mentioned, they do have the farmers market here, right in town over here. They also have like a little artisan fair throughout the year at different times. I think it's like the 3rd Saturday every whatever. There's like a schedule they're set to, but that's over in that same little section of Old Poway as well. And then you'll find some other fun events like brews and boots, obviously beer, wine, food. Fun little activity as well. Boots, a lot of boots. Once again, Poway theme. And then you're going to find during certain times of the year, you're going to find concerts in the park, whether it be right back here or at Lake Poway. So you can check out their site. It's always changing, but you will find a lot going on right here.
Along with those community events, you also have just a good sense of community here in Poway. It is a definitely prideful group of people that live here in Poway and love living here. So definitely that community feel is going to be a bonus as well.
Another pro is the Poway City app, which is just an app. If you see a street light out, you see something that needs to be fixed, potholes, whatever the case may be, you can mark it on there and make it a little easier, a little more streamlined. And I've seen this pop up in other cities as well. So it's just another little bonus that they're trying to make it, you know, more efficient here in Poway. You could also, you know, comment on stuff and kind of like have that discussion as well, what's going on around. But it's just a cool little thing, cool additional pro to have right here in Poway.
And this one might be the most important, and that is that SafeWise did a survey and Poway is ranked number 12 in the state as one of the safest cities and number 1 in San Diego County. So a great safe option. And if you are thinking about living in San Diego and you haven't reached out yet, definitely do that. Call, text, email. I'm going to be the one that answers the phone. Maybe Chris will answer the phone. And let's get that conversation started. Let's jump on a Zoom call. Let's chat about your move to San Diego, and we've got your back. I'm moving here.